This is Studio Green, named after obviously the big green screen that you guys see in the back. This green screen wraps around on 3 walls. There's 12 feet, there's 24, and then there's another 12, which is currently blocked by these sound blankets because of this specific configuration that we're using right now. Originally, this space had one single setup, and that back green screen was used with cameras back here where I'm standing right now, and we were basically just shooting training material purely on green screen, all post-produced. This all got converted during COVID, early COVID, like 2020 March and April, to a broadcast setup. So what you see right now is what essentially became our keynote and large training studio. We have 3 cameras in here. They're all A7S3s. They used to be FS5s, but then as soon as the A7S3s got released, I grabbed them all and just got these guys going. This one is on a gimbal because we sometimes use it for tracking, and you can just detach it, drop on the wireless HDMI, and then walk around with it. And then we have another one behind that teleprompter. This is a 24-inch Prompt Smart Pro, and you can actually see that I'm live keyed to this Apple TV screensaver that's currently running. That's literally how we do like presentations. We just have an Apple TV or with an iPad or a MacBook, and that wirelessly does the presentation to the green screen, and it's behind our speaker, kind of like the weather, you know, on TV. So that's another A7S3. That one has the 70-200 G Master lens. This one is a 50, and this one is an 85. The reason why we have 3 cameras is because technically there are 3 sets. So you've seen the green screen wall that's currently active. But here we have stone, and here we have brick. And this camera is exclusively looking at the stone wall with the bookshelf. And this camera is exclusively looking at the bricks. And we use them for different purposes. When we have like just a chit chat before a keynote, then we have the talent standing in here, and maybe we just bring in some couches or these chairs. We set it up with like a coffee corner. We also usually put our clients back there. And then, you know, we start the conversation here. That's why all these marks are on the floor. You can see where the safe zones are, where not to go, light limits, you know, where the safe zones are. If you go too close to the green screen, you're gonna be green, so that's a no-go zone.
Hello, Chris. I'm Jeb Blount. I'm the author of Fanatical Prospecting, Sales EQ, Objections, and Inked, and I'm so pleased to be with you as you kick off the busiest season of your year.
But if, you know, essentially you start here, and then if you want to go into the green screen, you essentially just rotate and walk on it. And the producer who's controlling the Blackmagic board would make that transition from this camera to this composite. And then you also have the ability to just talk with them through this camera. And here is a demonstration on what this actually looks like. So you can see that I have this camera, I have this camera, and we have the green screen that is currently empty. And then all these TVs do nothing but display the monitor that holds like the Zoom window or whatever, you know, platform that we're using. So basically the talent can see the participants in every single angle. The only monitor that is different is the one on this, because that's actually program output from Blackmagic. So you can see yourself and position yourself on the green screen as you're doing a live keynote. Now, and this camera is also an A7S3 that I didn't talk about. The main camera, that's where the audio goes through a Sennheiser AVX. So we use wireless lavs because it's technically broadcast. We don't really use anything post-production in here. If for any reason we do something, we just set up separate cameras. But sometimes I do actually use this setup to record something for post-processing, and then I just use timecode. I use Tentacle Syncs, exactly what I'm wearing right now, and I would just replace the microphone and just plug it into these cameras and record internally, not through Blackmagic, to get the footage so we can key it afterwards. This camera is also on dolly tracks because sometimes we do like training recordings that are not green screen. So I would pull this camera all the way up here to the end and then point it that way. And we can rotate that camera that way so we have a double angle on bricks. And that's essentially if somebody has like scripted stuff, where we actually have the teleprompters running through an iPad that's right here. This iPad is hooked into the SDI on these monitors, because they actually have SDI, not just HDMI, and it's looped out. So it goes into this one and then loops into the other one, so that it's simultaneously showing the same thing, which means that the talent can actually just switch cameras as they see fit based on their script. The lighting in here is pretty basic. We use these panels that are, I think they are discontinued now, but we just bought a bunch of them. Essentially, it's just flat stage lighting. I just blast everything as I can. The only difference is that the green screen is lit separately with the same panels. We have a hair light in here. This light with the big softbox is for this camera angle, because it turns out that it actually, you were kind of weirdly lit with just the panels. So I had to add another one. And then there's also a big flood back there, because sometimes the talents don't actually read the limit. And if they walk out of this line, then they go past the lights that are on top of them, which means they lose exposure in an extreme level. So I have to use this flood that's essentially just saving a shot that would be totally dark. And at least I can tell them in their ear to like go back, because from the production area upstairs, unfortunately there's no window or anything, I can't really see in here, but from the production area upstairs where I can see all this stuff, I can just literally say, okay, go back because you're too close. The tripods that we're using are Kessler cranes, because I want stability and the floor is not really solid. And we have these AT EM BCH30 broadcast heads. These were the biggest heads that I could get that would support the weight of these massive, massive, massive teleprompters, because they are very heavy and it's really hard to balance. And then I just used some like monitor mount for this multi-view. The TVs are just on stands, you can roll them. And we also have tele lights. So these tele lights are showing the talent, obviously the green and red, to see which one is on air. And you can see it's on all of these. So there's one on the green screen, there's one on this camera, and there's one on that camera. So the three main angles are displayed. And there's also one on this portable monitor, which is also only used for the presentation. So if they have slides, but they don't want to be on it, I can put that monitor right in the center. And if that's red, they know that that's the slide, because then that light wouldn't be red. If they are on the green screen, both are red, the slide and the camera. And that's how you know that you're on technically the green screen, if you don't see the program for any reason. So let me show you guys the production area upstairs to explain how all this is being controlled. We're running on Blackmagic, so there's two switchers, the main switcher and an extension. There's a small audio mixer so I can talk to the talent, but the audience doesn't hear it, so I can mix a couple channels. It's nothing crazy. Most of our audio actually runs through the board. This is only for listening. And then there is a producer camera, because sometimes I do production meetings with other companies, tech teams here. Channel 6 on the big board is actually just this other switcher down there. And that switcher is currently just displaying whatever is going on the talent monitor. But I can switch to the producer camera or an additional laptop that we plug in or something like that. And then that would become just this extension, channel 6. Our smartboard is currently in Studio Blue, so that's why it's not displaying anything. We've got the cameras. We have a playback hyperdeck that can play back like intro videos and stuff, or overlays. That's why you have fill and key, so you can do like actual like transparency overlays with like videos that you make in ProRes 444. This is where we put the zoom window. I also have timers from this app called AS Timers that I also have preset a bunch of them, put it up for the talent because they see this, and I can like set it up to show how much is left for the keynote, the Q&A, and the start time, like what's our actual deadline and cutoff. And that's how we basically communicate. On the mixer, I really just have my own microphone that's up here. That's how I talk to the talent or into the meeting. The second one is a room mic down there, so in case the wireless lab dies or something, I still want to hear what's going on in the room. So that's channel 2. Channel 3 is the board itself, so I can hear the actual lavs because I want to know what the audience can hear. And then 4 is the audience. So that's the coming in sound from this MacBook. That's number 4, and the rest is not used for anything. I usually listen in with headphones, but there's also a speaker over there. If it's a long keynote where I know he's going to be talking, you know, when I know the talent is going to be talking for 40-50 minutes, then I don't really have to do much. I'm just listening through speakers. In case there's a technical problem, I can get somebody to help or run down and fix it. So this is pretty much the complete Studio Green tour. This studio has been used for probably 4 years at this point. Every virtual keynote that we do has been delivered from this specific location. That's what Jeb likes. That's how he builds his slide deck, so we can do the live keying onto the slides that are running through the Apple TV. I hope you guys enjoyed this little walkthrough, and if you have questions, just drop it down in the comments and I'll try to make a video on that to see what details did I miss. I think I covered pretty much everything, and obviously if I would redo this, there would be a lot of different things. But I built this during COVID in the first lockdown, literally in 2020 March and April, where it was really, really difficult to get stuff. And so a lot of these things that I used to build it, it was just used because that was available. And it is functioning. It's not the prettiest, but when you cannot get anything because the warehouses are shut down or there's just shortages, it's just, you just take what you get and you make it work. And that's how this studio ended up functioning as our virtual keynote studio.